Sri Lanka's banking and finance sector recorded tremendous growth in 2011. What is the present status of the financial industry in Sri Lanka, and do you expect the same growth to continue in 2012 and beyond?
The finance industry, as you said, in 2011 had a very good growth. Actually, 2010 and 2011 were two very good years for the banking and finance industry. 2012, we see a little bit of a slowdown, partly induced by the regulators, because in industry like banking and finance, that you will have to have the check and balances. You will have to stabilize the industry. So at the beginning of the year, there were some credit ceilings imposed by the bank. I think it's a positive step, and it will bring good results for the entire industry.
With its portfolio exceeding rupees 8 billion, Softlogic Finance is now considered within the large finance companies category as classified by the Central Bank of Sri Lanka. Overall, how has Softlogic Finance fared in 2011, and how do you hope it to perform in 2012 and beyond?
The financial year 11-12, that is, which ended in March 2012, was a phenomenal year for Softlogic Finance. Actually, we achieved many milestones. The deposit portfolio, the lending portfolio reaching 8 billion, total assets going over 10 billion, and one of the most important things that we achieved is that we created a very good distribution network. That within that year, that we opened 8 new branches, taking the total number of branches to 17. That we created 22 standalone gold loan centers, and also with the help of the parent company, that Softlogic showroom network, we also opened 25 window offices to market our leasing hire purchase product. This year, if you look at our plans for this year, now that we have that distribution network, that we consolidated on that network, there will be few additions coming in the second half of this year. But the business volumes that we are planning this year will strengthen the company further.
Breakdown of this portfolio.
In our lending, our main product is leasing and hire purchase. So out of 8 billion, closer to 6 billion comes from leasing and hire purchase. The other products like the personal loans, the gold loans, the business loans are within the balance 25% of the portfolio. There again, not only the products, that if you take the customer segments, that we are basically with the SME sector. So with our distribution network, that's why I said earlier, it's very important that we build that distribution network. We are very much closer to our SME sector, so that we are in a position to cater them very effectively and efficiently. When you take the products of like other finance companies, we are basically into lending. The lending comes from leasing and hire purchase as the main product, the personal loans, the business loans, the gold loans, other main products of the lending side. We haven't gone into like any other some other finance companies into products like real estate, property development side. On the borrowing side, it's basically fixed deposits. The fixed deposit that we have customized now. So we have one or two specialized products like the health deposit I mentioned with Asiri group of hospitals. We have a small portfolio of savings, but now this year, the second half of this year, we will launch the savings account, and we want to expand on the savings product.
Many finance companies were affected in the face of the global financial crisis and the collapse of several financial companies in 2008. As the CEO of the company, what kind of strategy did you adopt to regain public confidence in your company?
A finance company or a bank or a finance company is a company or is an institution in financial intermediation. So our role is that we take public money from, say, shareholders or the depositors from one hand and lend it to the borrowing customers on the other hand. Now, in the management, the financial management and the risk management are the two most important things in managing a finance company. That one way that you'll have to match these cash flows and make sure that these maturities, whatever you invest, whatever you lend, will yield the return required as well as the necessary cash flows required to meet your liabilities from public deposits or any other borrowing. At the same time, that when you invest or lend this money, and also the other risk like the operational risk, the market risk, the interest rate risk has to be managed very carefully so that the company will be very stable. Sometimes you do even at the expense of the profitability because stability comes first.
Deposits reached the rupees 3 billion milestone within this year. In your view, what is the reason behind this achievement?
This again is linked to my earlier statement, our distribution channels. What we did over the last about 1.5 years is one thing is that we build up a good team and train them, and also with this distribution channel we are providing our deposit customers the very important stability, safety on one hand, at the same time the convenience on the other hand. So with this, even in and around Colombo that we created few branches like Kolpiti, Kadawatha, Navala, taking these products to almost to the doorstep of the customer. With our distribution team, with our marketing team, actually we provide the doorstep service that we deliver, we go and collect and service the depositors very efficiently.
Despite the gloomy outlook, do you think there will be a positive change in the economy?
We don't see a gloomy outlook at the moment, right? Yes, because the Sri Lankan economy will continue to grow. Right? It may come down from I think the central bank has revised the estimates from 8% to 7%. Or if an economy is growing at 6.5% to 7% or 7%, it's definitely not gloomy. Few things like the liquidity in the market, the interest rate going up in the market, I think the regulatory actions taken so far will address those, and because interest rate going up is not a good sign. It's not good for the banking and finance industry as well as for many other industries who are borrowing from banks and finance industry. Our belief is that we have already topped the interest rate, and probably by next quarter we'll see a decline.
How has the interest of Softlogic Finance?
This is something that we manage, that we knew these are cycles, the interest rates or any other any other financial indicators. So there are ups and downs. So when you are managing a company, when you are managing a lending and a borrowing portfolio, that you'll have to manage your risk.
What should the government do to drive more growth in the finance and banking industry?
I think what is happening in the country has already contributed to the growth over the last about 2 to 2.5 years. We saw a tremendous growth. Now even the RFC sector, that's registered finance companies, the number of companies have grown by about 1/3. Right. The banks and finance companies, their distribution network, the number of branches have grown manyfold. I think it is happening already.
Do you think the credit ceiling imposed by the government on banks is advantageous to the finance industry? How has this affected your credit operations?
It has not really affected us. There is no restriction on the ceiling, but the restriction, I think, was necessary because some imbalances at the beginning of the year. The credit ceiling was to sort of rectify this and brought back to normalcy. I feel that it is happening now.
It is reported that there had been a huge drop in vehicle leasing. How much of your business involves motor leasing, and do you expect the market to recover anytime soon?
Yeah, our business in leasing and hire purchase involves a lot of motor vehicle leasing, but as a company with more the SME type of a customer segment, that we also do a fair number of registered vehicles. So the overall the market, the new vehicle market, there is a drop, but our business volume is not significantly affected by that drop.
What is the breakdown?
It's a bit difficult to say because the different categories now, say smaller vehicles like the motorcycles or three-wheelers, or the vehicles like these Demo, Tata Battas, still there are quite a number of new vehicles being done, but the larger vehicles like the buses, lorries, even cars, vans, the percentage of the registered vehicles have gone up.
In your opinion, what is the greatest achievement accomplished by Softlogic Finance?
I think the greatest achievement is with this expansion over the last 2 years. It's not only the number of business places or the number of the distribution channels that we have achieved to put together a very, very dynamic team. Right? In my opinion, that's the greatest achievement of Softlogic Finance over the years. Now our total team is reaching 500 in number, right? So all of them are very well carefully selected. They are trained, right? They are motivated and retained to provide the one of the best services provided in the finance industry.
What support do you get from your parent company, Softlogic Holdings?
There are quite a lot. Actually, we got a lot of support from the Softlogic Holdings. The branding, the brand name itself gave us a very big boost when Softlogic came into this company 2 years ago. In addition to that, we have a lot of synergies, as I mentioned to you earlier. This business development officers, the window officers that we work with Softlogic showrooms, that we have joint products with Asian Alliance Insurance, which is again a company in the group. We have a joint product, the Health FD, with Asari chain of hospitals, and many other synergies with the group.